Hello and welcome to my first reading vlog. Welcome back to Read and Roam. I'm your host, Kayled, and typically the videos that I do on this YouTube channel is touring bookstores, touring libraries, and also hunting down those little free libraries. And while I wanted to do a little free libraries tour today, the wind is very windy outside. And it's also dark and dreary and gloomy. There have been a few snow flurries. Ugh, at least it's not sticking. I just don't like the S word, which is snow. But since it's really cruddy weather out, I figured why not just start a reading vlog? You know, it's getting towards the end of the year. I want to read some more books, and I just recently got back from a trip to the Dallas, Texas area. And so I kind of just wanted to unpack my last remaining bag and talk about the book that I brought with me, the book that I purchased before we get into reading. And the book that I brought with me was Episode 13 by Craig DeLuey. I love this book so far, and I think it might be one of my favorite reads of this year so far. We still have quite a bit of time left to go. This audiobook is fantastic. There's a full-fledged cast, there's sound effects, and it's great, right? And then the book is told in multimedia format, which I also really love and enjoy. If you love ghost adventures or ghost hunting type shows, this is perfect for you. So the main characters in this book are Matt and Claire. They are husband and wife, and they lead this team of paranormal investigators. And they are investigating this haunted mansion. And right now, we're just finally getting to some spooky stuff. I'm not quite halfway through it. I'm on page 173, so I still have this chunk left to read. I also made a stop to the half-price books where I found Empire of Storms by Sarah J. Maas, and I almost bought it, but I didn't want to take it home with me and it get damaged along the way, but it was in such pristine condition. Also, it's $31, so these are absolutely in a hot commodity. I think I have up to Queen of Shadows over there on my bookshelf. So I want to collect all the old covers because I love them, but I didn't realize how hot of a commodity it is. So I did not get that one, but I did end up strolling to the YA section and finding Rainbow Rowell's Almost Midnight. This is her 2 festive short stories, and just look how beautiful this cover is. This is a UK edition book. This little book comes with 2 short stories. We have Midnights, which was first published 10 years ago. Oh my goodness, I feel so old. When I read My True Love Gave to Me, it was like a short story anthology and it had a bunch of different authors. And then we also have Kindred Spirits, which was first published in 2016 for World Book Day, which I have not read yet. And so I figured this would be a perfect, like, going into the holiday season read. Also a short book to reach those reading goals. And I'm also gonna scan this into the Libib app with the barcode scanner, so that way I can make sure not to purchase another copy if I ever see one in the wild, because once I saw this, I was like, grabby hands, you're coming home with me. With the weather outside being just a little bit frightful, I think it's time to drink some iced coffee and also get just a little bit of reading done. Oh my goodness, it is snowing outside. Blech. So I think the only cure to what is happening outside for me is to read more of my book. Right now I'm on page 199, but I wanted to go back and talk about page, 179. This is what I love about this book, is that we have like a journal entry on this side, and then over here we have footage of what's going on in one of the rooms. Then we have this meter thing, which I love things like this. It just takes the book to the next level. And I think that's also why Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff is one of my favorite books of all time. I love that book because of the multimedia format, and I'm really digging this one. I'm on page 199. So what's happening right now in the book is that they need to obviously deep dive into the files about this building, this mansion that they're in. And so they're going to take a look at some of the files, but there's also part of the crew went down to the basement, and I hate basements, especially after dark. I can't do basements after dark. That's a no-go for me, especially coming back up the stairs. I always feel so spooky and scared. Instead of a reading blog, I'm just gonna tell you, like, I'm scared of basements. Oh, I don't like flying on planes, and I really hate turbulence. The more you know. Yeah, I'm gonna read just a little bit longer of this. Back with another reading update. It is Thursday evening, and last night I made it to page 207 before putting this book down. And tonight I have been listening to it on audio and following along, and I'm officially on day 4. It looks like I'm over halfway through the book now, which is super exciting. Things are heating up. We've had one of our investigators, just because she left, came back. There's some spooky stuff going on in the basement, and specifically there's a well in the basement, and I just, I watched too many episodes of Ghost Adventures.
This is one of the only places where we had stuff follow us home.
While listening to the audiobook, we have a full-fledged cast, we have sound effects, but this is why I enjoy listening to this audiobook so much. I want to play you my favorite clip I just heard, and this is why I had to sit down and film this clip.
The great dark, and the last thing we hear is the cough and splash of the cameraman vomiting onto the floor.
That vomit sound, priceless, absolutely priceless. I was like reading along and I was like, oh, that's disgusting. And then the audiobook made the vomiting noise. And I was like, oh, this is great. I started bursting out laughing. It was just fantastic. Love and enjoy this audiobook. I feel like this part of a reading vlog, I just don't know what to say because I am so close with being done with this book and I don't want to like get into any spoilery things or anything like that. However, like what I will say about this book is that I got one of my like childhood friends to read this book as well. She listened to it on audio. She finished it, I think, like last week. I have been going back and forth with her, giving like live reactions, updates, things that I think are gonna happen at the end of the book. So that has made the reading experience of this book just like quadrupled. My current thoughts and feels of this book, like I'm excited to see how this book is going to end. A little nervous. And then this weekend, I also made a trip to the library because my library now offers video games. So of course, I had to go and snatch Mario Odyssey because I have not played that yet. I beat this game last night. This was such a fun game. Wish it was longer. Wish there were more things to do in it. I felt like the pacing went by like super quick and I was like, oh, I can't believe I've already finished this game. So yeah, this will get returned to the library immediately. And now that I am done playing this game and I've finished it, I'm going to catalog it into the little bit map real quick so that way I could rate. And I'm also going to tag it saying that it's a library and that I do not own it. While I was at the library, I happened to find a book that I was like on the internet the other day and it like popped up and I was like, oh my goodness, that cover looks interesting. And then I read the description of the book and I was like, wait, what? Did I read that correctly? So like when you look at the cover, you're like, oh, this is like a super cute book. Oh wait, no, that teddy bear is definitely carrying a bloody bag. Dragging a bloody bag. So I ended up picking up, it's called Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. And on the back it says, home is where the heart stops. And you're like, oh, okay, right? But then the quote says, finally, murder and forensics are adorable. So here's a little bit more about Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. Don't murder the locals. This adorable brown bear and small-town serial killer Samantha Strong's cardinal rule. After all, there's a sea of potential victims in the big city just beyond the forest, and when you've worked as hard as Sam to build a cozy life and a thriving business in a community like Woodbrook, surrounded by friendly fellow animal folk and the aroma of cedar trees and fresh apple pies, the last thing you want to do is disturb the peace. So you can imagine Sam's outrage when one of Woodbrook's own meets a grisly, mysterious demise. and you wouldn't blame her for doing anything it takes to hunt down her rival before the body count rises, and Sheriff Patterson starts, in parentheses, literally barking up the wrong tree. Breakout writer artist Patrick Horvath presents his twisted hit murder mystery Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees collection in full for the first time. This book will be my treat after this. So in the meantime, I'm going to finish episode 13 later tonight, and once I am done with it, I will report back with more thoughts, feels, and opinions. And we're back for a reading update of what I got accomplished between last night and today. But first, let me quickly change my attire. And now I'm matching the stack of books I'm about to talk about. So in the meantime, I have finished 2 books and started a brand new one. The first and most important book that I want to talk about for my reading update is episode 13 by Craig DeLuey. I did finish this last night, and here is my reaction after finishing the book. So yeah, my reaction was less than stellar. This book had me in the first half. I was definitely thinking this was going to be like super creepy, super eerie. Like, I convinced my friend to listen to the audiobook. I also mentioned it to the bookseller over the weekend when I was at the bookstore grabbing coffee. So now I feel like an absolute fool that I recommended a book that I ended up not hating, but definitely not enjoying in the second half. Like, the first half was fantastic. Spooky, eerie, haunted house. And then the second half almost felt like National Treasure / The 100, that CW show. The 100 was my favorite show back in the day. And towards the end of this book, that's what it turned into, especially in the later seasons, the last season specifically. Like, the ending of this book fell so flat, and it was just so stupid, silly, and I can't decide what to rate it, so I'm going to scan it into the Libib app, and that is where my decision of, is it going to be 3 stars or 2.5? Yeah, 2.5. That is what I'm considering for this read. Without further ado, this is going to be my rating. And then I was slightly disappointed again by my next book that I finished, which was Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I have started and stopped and started and stopped, and I think I DNF'd this book at one point, but this summer I was determined to pick it up and read it, and I was doing a really good job at reading, following along, and also listening to the audiobook when I was doing a bunch of driving, and then today I was doing some driving, and I was like, oh my goodness, it'll be the perfect drive to finish up this audiobook. I enjoyed the audiobook, however, I wanted more villainy, and I wanted to see Snow become like this ultimate like evil villain in this book, and I don't feel like we quite got that. The beginning of the book starts off slow, so it took me a while to get in as I was stopping and restarting the 8 million times since I've owned this book. But then once I finally got hooked into it, I was really invested in it. And then we get to like the last like third of the book, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, what are we doing? And especially like the last couple chapters, I was just like less than impressed. So this one, I don't want to give it a 3 stars, but I'm definitely going to give it a 2.5 stars. I don't know if that's the unpopular opinion or not. I haven't looked at anyone else's reviews elsewhere, but I'm going to have to give this a 2.5 stars out of 5. And last but not least, we have another green cover, which I was not anticipating for this to be the vlog of green covers with episode 13. Didn't even have this on my radar, but I finished this anyways. And next up, we have our next green book. So we have Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. After episode 13 last night, I barely got into this, but overall I'm enjoying it so far, but I'm trying to not have my hopes up because I don't want it to be like episode 13 where I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so good, and then it ends up being like not good at all. So I'm intrigued to see where this goes and what all happens with these animals that are so cute and adorable, yet are out here serial killering in the city. So once I'm done reading this, I will report back for the final update of the vlog. This is the final update to my first reading vlog on this channel, and I love how we are going out on a high note. While my other reads and the video game that I played may have been a little bit of a disappointment, This comic is definitely going to be something if you want to pick up if you love Animal Crossing, if you like Dexter or any sort of serial type killer story or show, this one is perfect for you. Our main character, Sam, is a serial killer and she goes and commits crimes in a bigger city, and then when she comes back home, she realizes that someone else is committing crimes in her like little perfect town. And so she has to figure out who is committing these serial crimes, and hopefully she doesn't get exposed. Dun da da da. And I really wanted some fingers or something really spooky and horrifying and terrifying to happen in episode 13 where fingers get chopped off. There are definitely some fingers that get chopped off in this book. So if you're not into the chopping off and up of body parts, then this book may not be for you. But overall, I'm gonna scan it into the Libib app and I'm gonna rate it a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed the story, the characters, and also the artwork. This one was so good. But anyways, that is going to be it for this reading vlog with a video game that I played. Let me know in the comment section down below if you have enjoyed any of the titles that are mentioned in this video. What are your thoughts, feels, opinions, star ratings? Let me know. And anyways, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time for a new bookish video.